After 17 years, we finally have a third Bad Boys film, so today I'm going to stop and rank all three Bad Boys films from the worst to the best. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Sean, and I love to talk about movies way too much. With that in mind, go ahead and join me down below in the comment section. Share your take on all three Bad Boys movies. We're going to disagree. That's the fun part. Let's just keep it respectful. One more thing before we get started. I'm very active on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all three of them. I've got exclusive videos, behind the scenes stuff over on Instagram and Facebook, and I'm actually very good at responding to my DMs over there as well. And if you want to know the day-to-day movie conversations I'm having, that's over on Twitter. You can find the links for all of that down below in the description, and let's get started. Coming in third place is Bad Boys. This one might be in the last slot, but it's still a very fun 90s action movie for me. What I enjoy most about this film is you're seeing Will Smith and Michael Bay at the beginning of their careers, before they'd kind of become super famous in Hollywood and grown to epic proportions. This was them starting out. This is Will Smith after he'd been doing The Fresh Prince, transitioning into his action movie persona, and you can see all the charm, all the physicality that he would become to be known for in its early forms. It was always there, and he's kind of refining it. And of course, he's got great chemistry with Martin Lawrence in the film. Their banter back and forth just always has that little bite to it that you just enjoy the fact that they drive each other crazy. Another nice touch inside this one is Téa Leoni, an actress that I have a lot of fun with, and she's right along with them throughout the entire adventure, joining in on all the banter with everything going on inside of it. And then you have Michael Bay with his very first film, and it certainly doesn't have the budget and the full-blown spectacle of his later films, but all of the little touches, the slow-mo, the explosions, the fireworks inside of the explosions, it's all present inside of this film. This one is not in last place because it's like the bad one or anything like that. Just for me, it isn't as funny. It isn't as over the top. It doesn't quite have everything in full-blown motion, where you're talking about talent that got so much better as the years went along. And this is them being good at the starting point, but I thought they took it to the next level in the later films. That's the only reason it's in third place. Our runner-up is Bad Boys 2. This is possibly the biggest and glossiest buddy cop action film of all time, and the genre, the personalities lend themselves really well to this sort of over-the-top, slick action. You're talking about Will Smith in the absolute prime of his career, with Michael Bay at a point in time where they were letting him do whatever he wanted with a massive budget, and it's all there right on screen. Every action sequence is big in the way that it's done. Whether you're talking about the intro with this large, massive group of KKK guys getting taken out by the cops, or you're talking about the freeway chase that is just this bonkers thing where cars are dodging other cars. There's this shootout in a drugstore where the camera's just spinning around in wide circles around the whole thing. Or there's a scene where they're driving over dead bodies from the morgue being thrown out of the back of an ambulance. And then the finale of the movie is just like one big, massive spectacle sequence at a mansion to the next big massive spectacle sequence leading into a big massive car chase through these huge villages. All of it done, shot in these big, expansive ways that you're just, if you're an action movie fan, this is what I go to see action movies for. Also, of course, once again, the chemistry there with Martin Lawrence is, of course, present there. So much fun to see them doing their things, and the excess that Michael Bay is known for, you get to see it in a genre that I love here in the film, and thus it's one that, as an action movie fan, this is what I go to the genre for. But coming in first place is Bad Boys for Life. I'm as surprised as anyone that this movie's actually the best of the franchise. The chemistry between the two of them has not skipped a beat, but they found a way to age the characters, play out the arcs that they have been on in the previous films. See, where would they be at in their 50s? And you've got the Family Man, and you've got the Forever Bachelor, and it says what would be interesting of the paths that they'd be on and how they would split in the directions that they were heading. And because that, it has by far the most emotion of all the films in the franchise, and it has kind of the most heart inside of it as well. But still a comedy here, and the comedy still works. It might be the funniest one yet, and the previous ones were pretty funny. Their banter is just on point. Martin Lawrence knows that his career is not in the best place, and he absolutely goes for it, and he is hilarious throughout the entire film. Also, it's an action movie. It's not as big and glossy as Bad Boys 2, but it doesn't mean the action sequences are any less memorable or well staged. It finds a way to do things that aren't quite as big, but make them still just as fun. So you can just go through the movie and kind of the auto shop fight sequence or shootout where there's like powder spraying everyone. You remember that, and they do some violent kills, which I absolutely love when that happens. That makes them stick out in your memory. There's a fun motorcycle chase where cars are flipping around all around you, helicopters show up, and then of course you've got a big, gigantic finale inside. And it's a movie that also has a bunch of plot twists that you don't see coming, that you don't really expect for this franchise, that just keep adding layers on layers inside of the film. I already thought it probably had the best villain, or it did have the best villain of the franchise with the story that they'd set up. And then they have these twists and reveals that make the character even more interesting, and the stuff that kind of plays out in the pre-credit sequence. I guess the whole movie's a pre-credit sequence, but that scene that plays like a mid-credit scene that's right before the credits. I want to see that movie. I hope that we get that because they're on a roll right now. They've got their groove. They are still awesome at this, and I want to see where that plays out. Also, they add in that kind of the ammo team, the young kids do it with the investigative stuff. Normally, when movies like this do that, and they bring the young people in with the old guys, I don't know that the dynamic always works, but it worked here. They found a way to let our leads still remain the leads inside of it and have the ammo team become the people in the back, but supporting it really nicely. Each of them has their own personality, and it's nice to see Vanessa Hudgens shoot people in the face. Put it all together, and somehow they managed to take this old aging franchise and make it better than ever with just as many laughs, just as many awesome action sequences, and having a lot of heart inside of it. So it comes in at number 1. If you enjoyed this video and want more content like it, I've got a couple more action rankings right over there. If you want to go deeper with my channel, you can follow me on social media at those links down below in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and keep talking movies too much.